Welcome back to the Appalachian Outfeed. So yesterday I was working with that rope power puller on that old cherry tree, and I mentioned during that video that we were under a wind advisory and we had some little bit of audio issues with the wind. So this morning I get up, having my coffee, and we had some pretty good wind last night. And so I'm sitting there with my coffee this morning, and I get a text from a neighbor down the road. Their son had come down the road and said, "Hey, you got a tree blown over in your driveway." And I looked on it on our security cameras, and it looked like a skinny little tree. But when I got down here, it ain't. So this is a tree we walk past multiple times every day. Never did I think this thing was in danger of coming over. Now, we got some pretty good wind last night. It was blowing chairs off the deck and that kind of stuff. But and it was probably the worst wind we've had this year. We've had several wind events come through, but last night around midnight or so, it was really ripping, gusting really bad. And so get up this morning, and this is what we're greeted with. We walk past this thing every day, going down to get the mail and everything. And I don't know, again, what kind of tree this is, except that it's kind of a big one. I'm going to call this thing 16 inches across, and it extends out, and we even got debris in the creek. So it's a pretty tall tree. See what we got going on in the creek here. There's the wind again. So that is a pretty big tree. All up there. But obviously what had happened is in the crotch of that tree there was some rot developing, and this is what you get. Boom. So yeah, big old joker, relatively speaking. Not the skinny little tree that I thought it was. So, but again, I don't know what kind of tree this is, and that white wood makes me think it's kind of weak, and it probably wouldn't be very good for firewood, I don't think. But you know what? This long straight section here, several feet long. I think this might be just the thing. If I can rope my neighbor into milling this one too, this might be just the thing for shelves in the shop. I just need some, I don't know, 6 or 8 inch shelving in there, just a few. And this is kind of a gift, but it's also kind of maybe a trash or throwaway tree, I don't know. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to limb this thing down, and I am probably just going to cut it right there where it starts forking off, and leave the rest intact, and I'll cut it up there right where it starts to bend. Yep. Now, clearly up where this thing is bent at the base of the tree, way up there, if y'all can see that bend in the wood, that is going to be under some tension wanting to stand back up. So I'm going to have to figure out what I'm doing with that, so I don't get slapped upside the head when I'm cutting on this rig. But so hopefully pretty straightforward. Just a question of getting this thing limbed right now, and again cutting it right there, and then we'll get the neighbor to take a look at it, see what he thinks about milling this dude up, and that'll be that. Worst case scenario, I bucket into firewood lengths, and got a little bit extra firewood, even if it may be kind of poor. The other thing is, looking at this thing, I don't see how there's any way the rest of the tree survives with literally half of the trunk exposed. It may take it a couple of years to rot and finally die, but if you let it go that long, then it's going to be dangerous to take down. So I think the answer here is ultimately to cut this thing down and go ahead and get the rest of it on the ground at some point. That's not going to happen today because we still have a little bit of wind, and I'm going to have my hands full messing with the whole rest of this tree. But at some point in the not too distant future, I'm going to need to come out here and I think take the rest of this thing down. And my preliminary plan right now, we'll see how this holds up. Preliminary plan would be to try to get a rope or a cable, ideally up in that crotch, across that limb right there, up in that crotch, and probably run the cable out to this tree right there. Run that rope puller out there and just put a little bit of tension on this thing to keep it from going wonky on me. The only hazard we've got is we do have a telephone line somewhere up in there. I can't really see it on the camera. I'm a little surprised that this thing, the part that fell, didn't take that telephone line down with it. It must have kissed it. But so yeah, we'll try not to rip the telephone line down. But first we got to deal with this piece that's on the ground. So let me get the saws out, get geared up, and we'll get the limbing on this thing. While I was cutting on this thing, I was getting a, I don't quite know how to describe it, kind of a menthol or eucalyptus kind of smell, but smelling this chunk of wood, it smells actually almost sweet. I don't know. I will definitely try to figure out what kind of tree this is and put it in the description below. Definitely a softwood though. That 500i just rips it, as you saw. So all that stuff I just cut, that'll be firewood either for the barrel stove in the shop, or burning outside in the fire pit, maybe inside, but I think we're fairly well covered with stove wood for the house. But yeah, you know, I guess free firewood. Again, man, this is crazy. We walk past this thing multiple times every day and never picked up on the fact that this thing was so close to coming over. Wild stuff. Meanwhile, we got legit dead bark falling off trees around here, and that stuff's still standing. No rhyme or reason. Man, that smells good. I don't know if y'all can see that. That's what the bark looks like. So that's that. So that's most of the lemon done, and I guess I'm gonna go ahead and cut that last piece down there while it's kind of hanging in the air a little bit and I got a little room to work. And I need to go ahead and clean up a couple more stobs on this thing. And then we'll get it cut up there at the top. That ought to be interesting. All right, I'll get that saw going again and get back on it. Obviously, I'm going to try to do this without pinching the bar, but you can see what we got going here. I've got it's supported by that piece over there, and then this piece right here, and then also that main trunk out there. I'm going to cut just behind all this stuff, so I'm going to do a little top cut first where I think the compression should be, and then I'll come in from the bottom and finish it off. I hope. That's the plan anyway. We'll see what we see. I do have the trusty MS 170 in the truck. If I foul this up, so I guess we got that going for us, right? Oh. All right. You guys being difficult this morning. Alright, try to get you a little chip chunking action there. We need YouTube in 3D is what we need. Well, I missed on my bypass a little bit. I started out off to the side, but by the time we finished up on the cut, we ended up with one single kerf, which is fine. Apparently, we are still supported by, I don't know, well, I thought by some of that mess right there, probably by that limb right there. This end right here, even though it's cut, just kind of floating. That's kind of cool. That was good. All right. So looking at this thing now, I think what we're going to do is, I think I'm going to go out there and cut it at the trunk, right kind of just forward of that curve where it starts to bend right there, and maximize the straight wood. I kind of wonder if this limb right here might cause that trunk to roll a little bit if I go up there and cut it, so I may go ahead and cut that limb. Also got two, yeah, I got that limb way up yonder somewhere that I need to cut as well, because that's going to definitely roll that thing toward me. Although, you know, check that, I'm just going to cut it from this side of the log. For whatever reason I was thinking I'd cut it from the other side. I'm going to cut it from this side of the log. And that might actually be a little bit safer. Yep. I believe that's what we're going to do. All right, let me grab the saw real quick and we'll get her going. I am going to go ahead and cut this limb right here before I make the cut on the stem. I kind of feel like that thing may actually be putting backward pressure, and that thing may not be my friend, so we're going to go ahead and take care of that dude. And I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and take care of this guy as well. I don't know what, if anything, that thing's doing, but that's on the wrong side of the tree for me. So let me get the saw. This is that same new chain that I threw the other day, but we're running fairly tight. Hopefully this thing won't fling off of here. Good gracious. All right, let's see what she do. just like before, if there's any compression on this thing, and I think there probably is some, it's going to be on the top part of this log. So I'm going to hit that compression about a third of the way through the log, and then we'll try to come up from the bottom and take care of the rest of it. This thing should drop straight down. So yeah, that's what we're shooting for. That is not how I thought that was going to go, but I'll take it. Wow. So the part I thought was going to drop still sitting there floating. Isn't that crazy? All right. So I am going to now go ahead and I'm going to clean out these stobs underneath here. And I'm going to chunk this dude out in firewood lengths and just work all the way up to the base of the tree. Huh. You just never know. I could tell when I started to undercut that it was a little wonky. You can see there's a knot right there where I started to cut, and I could tell I was on something. I didn't realize it was just a knot. I thought it might have been in a whole nother limb or something. All right, hopefully that'll do. straight down and it don't fall funky and roll over. First couple cuts are pretty good. Before I cut this, I want to get one last look at this. Wondering what's happening here is got all kind of crazy cross grain stuff going on right there. So it's all throwing out weird chip patterns, but we don't have any straight grains in there. Well, that right there will just chain for you. Stupid thing is, I saw it coming the whole cut. I was thinking, I've got 4 wedges in the truck that I could get, but dummy me just kept on hammering. That's okay. Ooh, I'll tell you one thing. Got to come out of this coat. Alright, grab the scrunch, fix the chain. It's trying to come off the sprocket. And then we'll come back and finish this up. Alright, we're back. Got the chain reattached and everything, and hopefully properly tensioned. So in the process of that, I was about to just keep cutting on this for firewood, but when I look at how this thing is cut, I am sitting here wondering if there's something not something creative I could do with this slab. I mean, I don't know, but this whole piece right here, the way that crotch broke off, and I just happened to cut it right there at the start of the split. But I wonder if I can flatten that out, if that wouldn't make a decent little tabletop or something like that. It's not overly huge, but I don't know. So I think I'm gonna I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut it up here at the very end. It gets pretty skinny down here. It's actually all splintered up, so I'll cut it where I'll cut it at the base of the tree, and then we'll just figure it out from there. I may have to take a little bit more length off of that to get it loose from the tree, but I don't know. Anytime I'm messing with this kind of stuff, wood, I'm always thinking about what's the highest use for this particular piece of wood. And you know, again, this will make kind of just okay firewood. It'll burn like any other wood. Probably doesn't have a lot of BTUs in it, but man, if I could turn that into something, that'd be pretty cool. Have a little bit of a story. There's old Roscoe over there by the truck paying us a visit. Okay, yeah, so let me get the saw fired up. Oh Lord, we'll get this cut. And then I think we're going to move on to jacking that stem out of the driveway. I knew all that splintered up wood was going to be kind of funky to cut, and it was. Chain didn't want to bite it and all that busted up stuff. Yeah, man, I don't know why that ain't some kind of tabletop. If I can get it leveled out somehow. I don't know how that'll work. I don't know. Be fun to play with though. Worst case scenario, it turns into firewood. All right. Whew. Okay, we're back. I got it cleaned up a little bit, and actually, while we had the camera turned off, another neighbor stopped by, an old farmer down the road, good friend of ours, and checking everything out. He says this may be a poplar, so we're going to go with, right now, the species is maybe poplar. So kind of got everything somewhat cleaned up, but what I want to go for is, I'm going to see, there's a piece of wood this thing's kind of sitting on, and it's kind of, I'm hoping it's going to pivot on that, and I can use my log jack to, I want to swing this thing around on the other side of the driveway. I'll probably pivot it and then try to roll it over there. We're looking at a 25, 30-foot log. If I had any sense, I'd probably just go ahead and cut it up into 8-foot sections and move that, but we're going to try to move it all in one piece and see how that goes. And if that doesn't work, we'll get the saw out and see if we can do that. But you can see it kind of, like I say, it's kind of pivoting right down there. So let's see how this goes. Well, there you go. Yeah. Obviously got to take care of those couple of knots. We got some kind of great big old, call them shorebird. I don't know if it's an egret or what. But that dog that just took off absolutely hates big birds. Craziest thing. Excuse me. We get buzzards overflying this place, or even big crows at land. He loses his mind and wants to go after them. Guess everybody's got to have a job. Okay. Let me get these knots knocked off. Get back to the wood moving business. Comes another dog. Got that maybe poplar smell again. Surprised Roscoe hung out for that. He ain't about no loud noises. He don't like being disturbed. Check it out. Wood grain. Maybe poplar. I think old Roscoe's just waiting for me to make a path through here, and he's gonna skedaddle. We'll see. See how this goes. Getting hung on something. The wall just ain't very flat. Oh, skid moving back. That's what we're going for, that pivot right there. See how far I can get it to pivot. We'll say that generally speaking, I don't think dogs and chainsaws mix all that great. This is what I got. There's a couple knots on the underside over there. Yeah. Go clean that up before, while it's in a good place. Get cleaned up. Again, the idea being that it's just as easy to do it now before you get it on the mill. Tell you one thing, this chain's throwing out some big old noodly chunks on this, as you're about to see, I hope. Hence the iPro protection. All right, here comes the saw. Last couple knots may have been a little bit over the top taking them off, but hey, you're making wood chips, right? All right, let's back it up. So we can see how this goes. One thing about working and living up here is even when you got stuff to deal like this to deal with, you're dealing with it in what amounts to paradise, so it's all good. Watch out, Roscoe, here it comes. I think that wood down there is going to catch that other end and hold it while we spin and slide this in. What I'm hoping. Kind of working. There we go. That's what I'm going for. Ooh, yeah, ooh, that was almost bad. To be honest, I thought we was going to reinitiate the Maz Dam long haul rope puller today on this rig, but apparently not. Come on, baby. I see a couple places down there I do need to clean up for real. We'll do that real quick. Tell you one thing, this 500i is loud enough. I don't know how anybody, A, could run this thing without ear protection, and or B, really run much of a muffler mod on that thing, like a bark box or something. Good gracious. The exhaust on this thing is bone stock, and it is loud enough. Every time I fire this thing up without hearing protection, I regret it about the first time I bumped the trigger. The other thing I want on that saw, though, I'd like to have a full wrap handle on that thing. All right, I'm gonna get me a couple chunks of wood. We are out of the driveway enough. I'm gonna get me a couple chunks of wood, hopefully, and roll that dude on and try to get it off the ground, so it'll be in the air a little bit while it sits. Stand by. Okay, so I got to get this big chunky boy out of here. So this piece can roll up on my blocks that I got set for it. So we're gonna take a couple swipes at this thing and get this chunk of wood out of the way. Just a bit something I've been meaning to try for a while. Buck and Billy Ray talked about some saws, when you turn them off, they put the pull cord in a bind, and it'll sit in a bind the whole time until you crank it again. And he said the way to test that out is to pull the cord out before you cut it off, and if you feel tension pulling on the cord, then that you need to do that when you stop the saw. 500i didn't do that. There was absolutely no pullback when I cut it off, so you don't need to do that with a 500i. All right, get off this chunky boy out of the way here. All right, good. Man, look how pretty that wood grain is. I got to do a little research and see what we do with poplar. I don't know if that's coming over on camera. I don't know if the lighting's any good, but pretty wood. Very pretty. All right. We're going to see if we can get this thing to kick up on my two little pieces there, and hopefully it won't just roll on off. That thing's 9 steps long. That's going to equate to somewhere around 27 feet. So get 3 8-footers and have a little bit to spare on this dude. That's pretty good. Happy with that. All right. I think that's where we'll leave her for today. Thanks for joining me. I still got a little bit more cleanup to do. I got to get this nuisance stuff from across the road and get all this mess cleaned up. And I got to figure out what I'm doing about all this wood in the creek. I don't want it just to run down the creek. But I'm about out of battery. And yeah. So y'all got to see the bulk of it. So this is my Palm Sunday morning. Matter of fact, before I get too much deeper in all this, I'm gonna run up to my neighbor's place where that hemlock was the other day and make sure he doesn't have anything going on. He is actually, we're down in a little bottom here, as evidenced by the creek. He's actually up on a hilltop up there, and he gets some really serious wind. So yeah, I'm gonna throw the saws in the truck and run up there and make sure he's okay. Lord knows what we'll find. I guess I'll bring the camera with me in case we get into something. All right, but that's it for now. I'll try to leave a comment in the description below about if we actually determine what species of wood this is, because I know you're dying to know that. But for right now, we're calling it a maybe poplar. All right, guys, thanks for hanging in, and we'll see you next time.